What's up, guys? And Switchback is a gravity group wooden coaster located at ZDT's, this very tiny park that only has one coaster, and that coaster being Switchback. But this coaster was definitely a surprise. I went into this park looking for a nice ride, and man, it delivered. It was a very fun ride. It was just crazy to think about on how they came up with this such unique layout to fit in the small space they had. The stats aren't really that impressive, though, it only being 64 feet tall, which it does feel a little taller than it is because there's absolutely nothing around this park, and there are other than some sketchy gas stations and a water tower. That's about it in this town called Sagan. It's 41 miles per hour, pretty solid for that height, hitting that top speed at the bottom of the drop naturally, and it has a vertical angle at 87 degrees, which that angle is not on the drop. It is on it's one of the very unique parts of the ride. This ride has that spike, which is only 87 degrees, not 90, but for a wooden coaster that is very steep. You gotta realize that, but that's also very good. But now it has no inversions, even though it being a gravity group, and finally it has a track length at 1,196 feet long, definitely short, and pretty much the reason it is only at 1,196 feet long is because it is not a full circuit. It has a switch track, and it is almost like a vertical spike at that 87 degrees, which is one of those unique parts of this coaster. But probably my biggest downside with this coaster is that, like most gravity groups, it is fairly rough. But on this coaster, it is for sure not bad, especially in the front, which is definitely the roughest in the back. That's probably the reason I like the front seat better, because it is less rough, and you also get more airtime because there are some good airtime hills on this ride, and then you're the farthest point of the train to get up a spike, getting you some solid airtime. That is the case, even though these train-themed trains only have 4 rows, just because, ZDT does not get that much crowds, and it is a very rare to have the trains filled up even as they are. But like I said, they are train-themed trains, which this coaster is themed to, I guess, railroads, the name of Switchback, the switch track, for example. And of course, they got your very comfortable standard gravity group trains, Timberliners they are, but like I said, the theme on the trains is looking very good. But let's go through the ride element by element. And starting out, you leave that station and take a very tight turn, twisting up into that lift hill, giving you the view of sketchy gas stations and a water tower. But once you get to the top, you take again a very, very tight turn. This is probably the tightest I've seen down that drop, which is pretty much better in the back, and for sure it's not the best in the front. It's your standard drop for a wooden coaster, but then you'll speed through that switch track up into your first airtime pop, delivering you some decent airtime. Twisting, you'll go through another turn into a smaller airtime pop, and then this very, very steep bank turn that is also tight, but then heading into another turn. This one is different though. It goes to the side of a building, which is just fantastic, because it was a historic building there, and they did not want to tear it down, so it was a neat effect. But then it is another airtime hill, which is nice, and then a twisted airtime hill, which gives you some solid airtime. I was out of my seat, but then you'll go up into that spike where you do get some more airtime. Then the rest of the ride, there's backwards. There is some backwards airtime that is solid, and then you go hit the brakes backwards, which does put you into your seat a little hard, and I always had to brace myself for that. But then that track switches, and then you go into the station and do your ride on Switchback, which I actually really enjoyed my ride in this coaster. I rode it multiple rides. I rode it 7 times. Of course, most in the back and front. This is such a good wooden coaster. I'll give it 8.5 out of 10. But that will wrap up my review of Switchback. What do you think of Switchback? Post that in the comments below, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell icon to get notified when I post new videos. And see ya.